Hi, I'm Matt with Camera Ambassador, and this week I'm taking you through tips, tutorials, how-tos, and a lot of testing on the Arri Mini. This is a great form factor camera to be able to put on any type of Movi or Ronin and be able to get all of that smooth type of action. Now, one of the drawbacks of having a camera with a form factor so small is that while we do have an audio input here, it's not exactly full production sound that we're really looking for. But then again, this is an incredibly tiny camera. Great thing about this is that we do have Wi-Fi on this camera. It's this antenna right here, and this enables us to be able to operate this camera from our smartphones by going to a website, as I detail in one of our videos that we did. So go ahead to one of those playlists on our YouTube channel and check that out. Now, we have two SDI out ports, which is awesome, incredible. That's what you need. That's what you want from a full production camera. And then the batteries. As far as the batteries go, you're always going to need to have some Anton Bauer high-powered batteries to be able to keep this thing going all day long. Now, I did a mini little shoot and did a little run and gun testing around Camera Ambassador to see how this thing performed when I was just that type of shoulder mount run and gun type of footage. I drained through an entire Anton Bauer in less than an hour. So, camera pulls a lot. Great thing on here too is that we do have CFast cards. Now, CFast cards read and write extremely fast, so we don't have to worry about too much data and the processing time it takes for our data management team to take this camera and start uploading the footage onto a different drive. It's going to happen very quickly, and there's not a lot of time you have to worry about that. It's not like back in the days with just like basic FireWire USB with pulling off the red one. We have technology to move it a bit faster, and it's being put into cameras now, which is fantastic. Now, as far as buttons go on this camera, you're always gonna need this EVF attached for the most part to be able to see any image that you have, unless, of course, like we said, you're operating from the Wi-Fi. So, as long as you have this EVF set up, you're good to go as far as any sort of waveform monitoring, or if you want to check any peaking, any zebras, if you want to be able to punch in on your image and be able to see what it's looking like. But what I really love is the eyepiece. The eyepiece definitely allows you to be able to get that exact focus in that you're looking for every single time. Now, a lot of companies, as they're building and they're making cameras and they're putting them out there, they're not paying attention to this bit. And this is a really important bit, because without it, you're really saying, okay, we gave you a great camera, but you have no idea what you're shooting because you can't really see it. I'm looking at you, Canon. Now, another great thing we have on here that we're missing on the Reds is internal ND. Not give me another mount and then we'll put, and no, just it's internal ND. And here's the thing I love about it. I went through and did a testing and made sure that I had this hardest light I could possibly blast, 3K, straight at my face. And I did ND starting off at the 2.1, at a f2.8, and then I went all the way down until I was at an f22 and I was shooting totally clear. With that, I noticed absolutely no color difference from the ND whatsoever. And that's incredible. If you can put something in front of a lens and not have a color differentiation happen, that's incredible. So I love what Arri's doing with that, and I hope they keep doing it. Now, we do have some buttons up on the top here. We have some buttons on the side handle, but that's about it. This camera does get pretty hot though. And one of the things I do like about the Red cameras is that they drop all of their heat exhaust up on the top of the camera. We don't have that here. Here we have the exhaust on the sides, and then we have some vents coming out the back. This camera does get warm, it does get hot. And as you've got it next to your head and you've got this heat going into your head, it's a bit difficult to operate. So that is something to keep in mind if you're gonna operate this thing from a shoulder mount and you're the operator. It's easier if you're going from a Movi or something like that and you don't have that blasting right in your face. Any little bit that we can make it easier for the operator to do their job is an easier way for us to be able to operate the camera, to be able to give us an easier image. The operator doesn't have to worry about anything like this camera doesn't feel like it's secure or it's balanced, or when I'm saying that, I'm saying the actual weight inside the camera is not feeling balanced. And this camera particularly, it is. The other cameras, not so much. Again, C-series, and Blackmagic a little bit. With these two rosette offsets here, we're able to actually build handles and be able to set up an entire rig all around this camera, which is fantastic. I love this mounting system. I'm still able to easily access the buttons all on the side, and then around the back and this other side, I know the camera is set up to be able to be outfitted with anything and everything. The top handle here is also a nice add-on, and the reason that I really like this one is because as much as I could definitely stack a ton of gear up on top of here, I like leaving this empty as much as I can. Anybody who's watched any of the other videos that we do knows that I like to keep a very small and basic package so that I can be able to run and gun and move the way I want to. And the operation is really important, and that's kind of the thing that I'm looking at with this camera, and that's why I'm talking about this, is because what I'm concerned with a camera isn't so much, once I know that I'm getting a good image out of it, like I am with this camera, then the first immediate thing that I go to is, okay, but how do I work around it? How do I operate around it? And the reason that's so important is because if you make it difficult for your operator to move and operate around the camera and to be able to do what they want to do with it, then you're going to get a less quality image. Now, the audio is an issue, and the audio is an issue because there's been a lot of reports of major dropouts where the audio just doesn't record. It's just not recording anymore. Now, if you're dropping a shotgun mic on there and you're using it for scratch track audio, that's one thing, but if you're running all your sound off of that, that's gonna end you. So in order to be able to not worry about this anymore, NAB 2017 this year, Arri is announcing a resolution for this issue, which is pretty great. And you know, we can't get everything we possibly want yet in a camera this small. Perfect audio to not have to be able to bring external sound in, it's not gonna happen for a little while now. But it's nice to see that there's a change coming and that people are actually making an effort to get you what you want, and what I want right now is that audio fixed. Now, next thing, logs with this camera. You have two choices, log or Arri 709. That's your choice. That's what you get to choose between. So if we're looking at one of those two options, obviously we're always going to want to record in log, and then we're going to want to take that footage and be able to bring it into post to be able to break it down and edit it and color correct it exactly the way that we want to. Can't do that so much, can't push it so much with the 709, but in order to be able to monitor this footage, you're going to want to have that lookup table of the 709 to be able to look and see, okay, well, when I add some contrast and when I start doing this, what can I see? One thing that threw me off a lot was that the white balance that you're able to access through the monitor here, it's not like you can just go ahead and flip a switch and change a dial and you start changing what you're actually doing, what you're recording. You have to actually go into a different menu subset in white balance to be able to add a new profile. But as you're changing that white balance, you can actually see it change on the monitor. So you need to have an external monitor with this camera. It is a full production camera, and without having everything else built up around it, it's not going to be as suitable as a camera for a larger end production as you would possibly hope for. So if you get this camera, if you rent this camera out, you're going to have a great image as long as you're lighting properly and operating properly. But if you want it to perform at its absolute highest, you need to build out around this camera. So Arri Mini, in my book, an absolute A+. I cannot wait to do some more footage with this camera. I can't wait to make a short with this camera. I can't wait to do some extra things with this camera because it fits into my style of filmmaking a lot. It's a small form factor. It does everything, almost everything that I want it to do internally without having to add on a lot. But then once if I do decide I want to start building up on this camera, then it's going to take it to a whole other level. I hope you learned something today from our overview of the Arri Mini. We're going to be going into very in-depth testing over this camera, and I really can't wait for you to be able to see all those videos that we put out. So make sure you go over to our YouTube page and you subscribe, and then you go ahead and start seeing these videos that we're putting out almost every single day. And then you're able to educate yourself on the different types of cameras that you're gonna end up working with on set. But as far as right now, just make sure you go create something today. Create something, doesn't matter if it's writing or if it's shooting or editing or whatever, just create. See ya.